So you're thinking about moving to Sacramento, and let me guess, you've been scrolling through Zillow, Googling neighborhoods, comparing cost of living, and maybe you're even planning a weekend trip to scope it out. But here's what nobody tells you. Sacramento looks amazing on paper, but people make at least one of these big mistakes that we're about to tell you when they make the move here.
Some of these mistakes, they've cost our clients thousands. Others lead to regret that lasts for years. But there's one mistake that we're gonna share at the very end. And if you miss it, you might be shopping for another home way sooner than you expected.
Stick around because we're going to be walking you through some of the biggest mistakes people make when moving to Sacramento, California, and exactly how to avoid them.
Let's check it out. Sacramento is one of the fastest growing cities in California, and for good reason. You've got more affordable housing compared to the Bay or SoCal, easy access to Lake Tahoe, Napa, and San Francisco, plus a local vibe that's hard to beat.
But just because more people are moving here doesn't mean everyone loves it once they arrive.
There are some unique quirks about Sacramento. Some are awesome, others not so much. And if you're not prepared, those things can turn your dream move into a stressful situation. In today's video, we're diving into real stories, sharing tips we give our clients, and helping you sidestep the mistakes we see way too often.
But while we have your attention, if this is your first time on the channel, we are Lance and Lauren with the Living in Sacramento team, where our real estate team helps people buy, sell, and relocate to the Sacramento area by sharing exactly what it's like living here in the greater Sacramento metro. And trust us, no one is bringing you videos quite like these. So if you're thinking about making the move, feel free to reach out to us. All of our contact information is going to be in the description below and pinned in the chat. All right, so mistake number one is assuming that all Sacramento suburbs are exactly the same. Now, thinking that all Sacramento suburbs are basically the same, they are not. You've got Elk Grove, Folsom, Roseville, Natomas, East Sacramento, Granite Bay, El Dorado Hills. They're all totally different cities and suburbs, and they completely give off different vibes than each other. Now, Elk Grove, think super family-friendly oriented, more spread out, tons of parks, and definitely newer track homes. Folsom, where I'm at right now, you've got a mix of master plan communities. You have a ton of amenities, very clean, highly rated schools. You have awesome outdoor amenities like Lake Natoma and Folsom Lake, but you still have some options for some new construction on the south side of Highway 50. Rockland is super clean, it's growing fast, and you have both new developments and charming established neighborhoods. Then you've got Midtown or East Sacramento, historic homes, tree-lined streets, tons of charm, but much older housing. But don't let that fool you. These are still some beautiful neighborhoods, and these houses are extremely well kept. And then you've got Roseville. With it being the largest city in Placer County, it has 3 different zip codes, and you can find everything from established neighborhoods in East Roseville to your old charm in Central Roseville, and then you've got new construction out there in West Roseville. On top of the variety of houses in Roseville, you have everything that you can possibly need right here within the city limits. You've got the mall, you've got a ton of restaurants, and you've got lots of parks and trails weaved in throughout the city. Now, here's where people get tripped up. You might find a beautiful house online in a suburb that checks all of the boxes on paper, but once you're living there, you realize the vibe isn't quite the fit that you were looking for based off of what your family wants or needs. Even worse, the schools aren't exactly what you thought, or even worse beyond that, you're on the complete opposite side of town from where you need to work and you're dealing with a miserable commute. That's where Lauren and I come in, and why we always say don't just shop for homes, test drive the lifestyle. Grab a cup of coffee there, walk some of the streets, heck, even sit in traffic, go grocery shopping. I know it sounds silly, but it will tell you more than any listing ever will. We've helped so many people move to the greater Sacramento metro, some who are relocating here, heck, some who already live here, and then they found us, realized that their initial neighborhood wasn't exactly the right fit, and then we helped them find the right spot that's specific to their needs. You want to spend real time in these neighborhoods. On our discovery call, we're going to talk about your first recon trip to the Sacramento area. We want you to get here on a weekday, spend some time on a weekend, try out the coffee shops, check out the grocery stores, go for a walk, sit in traffic, and get a real feel for the people and the pace of life in those neighborhoods. We want you to explore 2 or 3 neighborhoods in person before even deciding. If you get that wrong, it's going to definitely suck and you're gonna have to move twice.
All right, mistake number 2 is gonna be underestimating the Sacramento heat. Now, yes, it gets hot, like really hot. We routinely get stretches over 100+ degree days in July and August. Some years it can hit 110. However, it does cool off in the late evening and in the early morning. People from the Bay Area or Seattle move here in fall or winter and think this is great. Then July hits and suddenly their electricity bill is $600. If your HVAC system is old or your home doesn't have solar or you don't have shade trees, you're definitely gonna feel it. It's also tough on lawns. You'll see a lot of people switch to drought-tolerant landscaping or artificial turf. We absolutely love it here, but yeah, the heat takes some getting used to, and a pool definitely helps. Besides having your own pool, there's a lot of ways to cool off during the summer heat. We've got Golfland Sunsplash, where you can ride the slides. We've got Folsom Lake close by, where people love to hang out at the main beach or go out on a boat. Then we also have Lake Natoma, the perfect spot to go paddle boarding or kayaking. We love Lake Natoma because it's quiet and the water isn't choppy, because no motorboats are allowed on that water. So it's the perfect spot to go paddle boarding or kayaking and enjoy a nice day out on the water. Now here's a quick tip. Definitely plan on visiting in July or August when it gets super hot here, if you can, before you actually make the move, if you're someone who's never been around hot summers like this before. Don't just move in March and assume you're good. Come visit during a heat wave and see how you actually feel.
Now on to mistake number 3 is not understanding the utility providers. Now most people don't realize that Sacramento just isn't one power company. We've got SMUD, which is going to be located in Sacramento County. We've got PG&E as well as Roseville Electric, and they're all very different. Like I said, SMUD is going to serve most of Sacramento County, and they're going to be known for being way more affordable and reliable than PG&E. PG&E covers most of Northern California outside of Sacramento County, and they've had a rough track record in the past. Think rolling blackouts, higher rates. Now keep in mind, while PG&E does have extremely high rates, if you love a suburb or an area that has PG&E, it doesn't necessarily mean you should rule out the area. A lot of people who have lived in this territory have already put solar on some of these homes to help combat some of the higher priced electricity. Then you've got my favorite, which is going to be Roseville Electric, which is actually a city-run utility company and has the most affordable rates in the entire region. And most people absolutely love it. Now, if you're buying a house in a borderline area, especially parts of Folsom and El Dorado Hills, or even parts of East Roseville and Granite Bay, make sure you find out exactly who the electricity provider is before you fall in love with the home. An average City of Roseville bill might be $200 a month in the summertime. A home that has SMUD might be $250 per month in the summer, and that same usage with PG&E could easily be $350. So always ask who the utility provider is before you buy. It's one of those things that you don't think about until it's costing you double every month.
All right, next up, mistake number 4, ignoring fire risk and insurance. California in general has seen a massive increase in wildfire activity, specifically in the last 6 years, and Sacramento's outer areas are no exception. If you're looking at places like El Dorado Hills or Auburn or parts up Highway 50 or Interstate 80 as you're headed towards Lake Tahoe, you're potentially in what's called a high-risk fire zone. Home insurance in these areas can be 2 times higher than you'd expect, and sometimes the only coverage available is the California Fair Plan. One of our clients had a $2,000 a year quote, and then they found out it didn't include fire coverage. That was an extra policy that they then had to get added on top of that quote. So make sure you ask your insurance broker about fire risk before you get into escrow. Don't wait until you're in escrow. Know the risk zones, ask about hydrants, fire stations, and defensible space around your home. Also, you can get quotes for these areas before you purchase to make sure you're okay with the potentially higher rate. If this is helping so far, let us know in the comments. Or if you've already moved and made one of these mistakes, tell us your story and stick with us, because coming up, we're covering one mistake people never see coming until it's too late.
On to mistake number 5 is understanding Melrose and HOA fees. A lot of the newer homes, specifically homes that were built after 2000 in Sacramento suburbs, come with something called Melrose tax. It's an extra tax to pay for infrastructure like roads, schools, sewers, and added safety personnel like fire and police for the area. It's not always obvious on the listing, but it can add $200, $300, or even $500 a month to your monthly mortgage payment. Then there are HOAs. Some offer great perks, landscaping, pools, clubhouses, but others come with strict rules and sometimes surprise assessments. Want to paint your front door blue? That might need an approval. Planning to park your RV in your driveway? Probably not going to happen in most HOAs. Make sure you ask for a copy of the HOA docs and Melrose tax estimate before making an offer on a home. The last thing you want is to fall in love with a home and then realize the fees push you out of that budget.
All right, mistake number 6, underestimating traffic and commute times. Sacramento traffic isn't LA bad, but if you're commuting from suburbs like Roseville, Elk Grove, or Natomas to downtown, you need to plan for it. Certain times of day, even a 15-mile commute can take 45 minutes. With so much new construction happening, congestion is only increasing. Now here's another tip. Test your actual commute during rush hour before you commit to an actual area. Don't just plug it into Google Maps, drive it at 7:45 a.m. on a weekday. That's the real test. Can you handle what it's like, and is it going to drive you crazy?
Mistake number 7 is not researching school districts. Sacramento Metro and the suburbs are known for some of the most incredible school districts in the area. Heck, for a lot of people, it's the main reason why people move here is the awesome public schools and not having to pay for private school. However, school quality can vary dramatically between districts and sometimes even between schools within the same district. Now, don't just assume because you're buying a home in Folsom, Elk Grove, or Roseville that you're in the best zone. Check the boundaries, read the parent reviews, and also take some of these online ratings with a grain of salt. You can be in the best school district and the highest rated school in the area, and some people will still have a kiddo that struggles. So a lot of education is you get what you put into it. We've had so many people reach out to us, especially on Instagram, and they're talking about being close to elementary schools and having to deal with boundary lines. So sometimes how they draw boundary lines don't make a ton of sense. So we can always pull up the boundary map and fully understand where you're looking at and where those schools are assigned to for that particular neighborhood. We always help our clients look at this up front, even if they don't have kids, because it affects resale value in the future. So while you might not have kids or school-age kids, it's important to be informed about the area and the schools for a potential resale value later on.
All right, moving on to mistake number 8, not planning for a car-dependent lifestyle. Sacramento is a car city. Even the more urban areas, you'll probably need a vehicle. And in the suburbs, it's a must. If your family has 2 or more drivers or teens getting ready to drive, consider a 3-car garage, a large driveway, or a home with RV potential parking. Also, it's important to note that some HOAs will not allow you to park on the street, or some will have rules like all cars have to be parked in the garage. And if you're entering the teenage years with your kids, this could be a hassle later on. Take it from us, we have 2 teenage drivers, which meant 2 extra cars when we moved last year. We had to pass on a few neighborhoods we loved because the parking situation wouldn't work for our family. We've also had clients pass on great homes because of future car needs and all the potential parking. Think about future vehicle needs and garage space before you buy.
All right, lastly is mistake number 9, which is ignoring air quality and allergies. Between wildfire smoke in the summertime and intense pollen in the spring, Sacramento can be tough for a lot of people with asthma or allergies. Some years are worse than others, but it's something to be aware of, especially if you're coming from coastal areas. We've had clients who move here who have never had allergies before, and then spring hits and it knocks them on their butt and they have allergies now. Now, while allergies here can be annoying, it's definitely not something that a good allergy pill can't solve, or getting some local honey. Now, definitely invest in a good air purifier if you're somebody who struggles with allergies. This could definitely help, and always check the AQI before you move. Now on to mistake number 10, choosing the wrong realtor. Not all realtors are created equal, and not all of them know the entire Sacramento Metro. Some of them only work 1 or 2 suburbs, and that can leave you blind to a better option that's just 10 minutes away. We specialize in helping people relocate here from out of area, and that means knowing the pros and cons of every neighborhood in every suburb.
So if you want to work with someone who's going to help you think about commute, schools, utilities, fire zones, not just square footage, let's talk. We've helped people from all across the state, country, and even people from out of the country relocate here.
But before we finish up, here's bonus mistake number 11 that most people never like to admit. They think that Sacramento is just another stepping stone city.
But then they get here and realize it's actually a place they want to put down roots.
So if you're moving here with a short-term mindset, that can lead you to buy the wrong house. So think long-term, because Sacramento just might surprise you.
So there you go, 10 plus 1 of the biggest mistakes people make when moving to Sacramento. We hope this helps you avoid the stress, the surprises, and the stuff nobody tells you about.
If you found this helpful, drop a comment down below and let us know which tip surprised you the most, or what you're most nervous about when it comes to your move to the Sacramento Metro. And if you're serious about relocating here, schedule a call with us. We'll walk you through every step and help make sure your move to Sacramento is the right one. So thanks for watching, and we'll definitely see you guys on the next video.